Hello, we're coming to you again tonight from Mayo University Hospital in Castlebar, County Mayo. We just wanted to give you a further update on the ongoing crisis here at Mayo University Hospital, and indeed, as we know, in hospitals and nursing homes right across the country. Now, earlier this week, we attended the latest preliminary hearing into the inquest of Sally Maaz. Now, as you know, Sally died here at Mayo University Hospital in April 2020. She was a 17-year-old young girl. Now, a development has taken place at that preliminary hearing of the inquest that has left us gravely concerned. It has become very clear to us now, as it would to any observer, that the coroner, Patrick O'Connor, the Mayo County Coroner, and Callantanzi's solicitors have agreed together that a key witness surrounding the death of Sally Maaz at MUH will not be called to give evidence to the coroner's court. And one of the key events in Sally's death here at MUH last year was an extraordinary decision by Mayo University Hospital to change her medication that she had been on for up to 17 years since she was a baby. Sally had a heart problem, and this medication was very important. MUH made an extraordinary decision to change that medication. MUH also gave a new medication to Sally, a pill that caused an allergic reaction, choking, vomiting, and clotting in the lungs. Now, shortly after this medication change was initiated, Sally tragically died. Now, I want you to know also, at the same time as this medication is changed, MUH is relentlessly testing Sally for COVID. They test her once, she tests negative. They put her into the COVID ward nonetheless. They test her again, negative. They test her again, and only on the fourth time do they get a positive. Now, after Sally was given this pill that caused such a reaction, she called her mother in distress. And she was calling for help, and she called her mother from the COVID ward seeking help. And her mother was obviously extremely distressed, and she had to call in turn the hospital to find out what was happening. Now, what did the hospital tell Sally's mother? They told her that Sally's doctor in Crumlin had approved the medication change. And this is very important, because only a number of days after Sally's death, that same doctor from Crumlin in Dublin called the Maaz family and told them that he didn't even know Sally was in hospital, never mind approve a change in medication. Now, this raises huge questions. Why was this extraordinary decision made to change Sally's medication at the same time as the hospital is relentlessly trying, I believe, it's the only explanation, to get a positive COVID test result? And who made that decision? And this, you can see, I'm sure, is a vital matter for the coroner to establish the circumstances of the death. And that's why we're absolutely shocked, is the only word, that we went down to Swinford on Monday this week and found out, it was confirmed, that the coroner and the solicitors have agreed that that witness, that doctor in Crumlin, will not be called to give evidence before the court.
So Sally died on the 24th of April here at Mayo University Hospital. Her doctor in Crumlin, who had dealt with her for 17 years, called the family on the 28th of April, inquiring after Sally, and he, according to her father, had not a clue that she was even in, she had even been admitted to Mayo University Hospital. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. There are questions to be asked. We need answers. And this is the purpose of an inquest. An inquest is for the sake of the public as well as the family. The public need to know what happened here at Mayo University Hospital. The cause of this death must be established. and we need key witnesses to be brought in. And it's very, very concerning. It's very, very concerning that when Coroner Pat O'Connor is asked by Jemima Burke, the journalist who got the full story, spent hours with that dear family and got that full story. When she asks, will that report that we're hearing now is going to come from Crumlin be considered as evidence, we're not getting an answer. We're getting an agitated coroner that tries to silence you. We do need this is very serious. This is an extremely serious inquest.
Mm-hmm.
This is extremely serious what is happening. And we need these key witnesses. They must be present. We need the full truth to be established. What exactly happened here in April 2020? And then we were told afterwards, it was in the front of our papers, that a 17-year-old girl had died of COVID.
Yeah,
we
very
need answers.
Mm-hmm.
And we need a proper investigation. We need key witnesses to be brought forward. And we say that to the coroner with due respect, and also to Tansey, Callan Tansey solicitors who are representing the family and are extremely quiet around all of this. We sit there, and to be honest, as members of the public, I feel sorry for the families. We feel deeply humiliated. We feel deeply humiliated sitting in that courtroom. We're listening to the coroner emphasizing again and again how important the binding of the books will be.
Yes.
And the pagination and the tabs. And we're wondering, what about the witnesses?
So just to explain that for people who may not be aware, it's normal in court proceedings to have books of evidence, and this is secretarial talk. The coroner spent quite a while talking about how important it was that the books will be tabbed and that certain numbers will be on pages, while the massive issue of a key witness is ignored. It's pushed under the carpet. And when a member of the public asks for clarification, will this man be brought to give testimony, to give to witness, there's, as you say, agitation, and there's a desire to cover it up and to move on.
We've had on our local radio this afternoon, we've had Michael Kilcoyne calling again for a public inquiry into what has happened here at Mayo University Hospital, where many people have lost their lives. 45 have supposedly contracted COVID within the hospital and died. And he's speaking of, so many people dead who should be sitting around the Christmas table enjoying their dinner, their Christmas dinner. And that's true, and that's very, very sad. And Michael is calling for a public inquiry. It sounds very, very good. But we ask again and again and again, why will Michael Kilcoyne and every other politician, why will Michael not ask at the HSE Forum West, why are these staff in this hospital, and without a doubt in every hospital across our country, why are they gagged?
Yeah.
Why are they gagged? We know that a public inquiry will cost the taxpayer thousands, if not millions, and that at the end of a long, drawn-out process, there will be no accountability. Now, I believe Michael Kilcoyne knows that well, but to the unsuspecting, his statements sound very, very good and very concerning. But Michael is not asking the all-important question. He's not pressing for answers from Tony Canavan of Ceuta at the HSE Forum West. Why are the staff gagged? Can we lift the gag? If we lifted the gag, these staff in here could tell us what has been
We would
happening.
need an inquiry.
We wouldn't need an inquiry. They're afraid to speak. Two senior staff have come out over a year and a half ago, and they've contacted a counsellor, and that has gone on to RTE Drive Time. It's been all over the media that the staff are silenced in here. They're afraid to speak out. Why is Michael Kilcoyne and the other councillors who are sitting on the HSE forum, why are they letting that go continually? What is wrong? What is wrong when the staff must be gagged? You gag people when you are hiding something. HSE are hiding, they're covering up what is happening in our hospitals across the country. And we should not, as a people, accept that. You know, when we think back to Adolf Hitler, 1933, he came to power. And you know, from 1933 to 35, that's only 2 years. You know, the Germans, they had lived under Nazism for those 2 years. And a lot of things happened in those 2 years. And you know, they didn't resist it. And they had got used to forms and behaviours and doing what they were told and believing that maybe it's going to get better. When in actual fact it was getting worse, and they were losing any power to resist the wickedness of what was happening around about them. And that is what happens when we as a people accept, we get weaker and weaker and weaker, and things get worse. And you know, from 1935 onwards, the extermination camps were being built, and then we go on. Some years later, we have the gas chambers, we have the millions destroyed. The Holocaust. And we wonder, how did that happen? It happened because the people looked on. And they knew what was happening. They had got used to saying nothing. Now, Michael needs to be asked. The politicians need to be asked. Why are they not speaking up? Why are they not questioning? Why are they happy that there is no debate? We are ruled by unelected bureaucrats. Tony Holohan, Paul Reid, who are these people? And our politicians are silent. Our politicians are silent. There's no opposition. There's no opposition. I mean, all Rose Conway Walsh talks about is funding. When we ask Rose, the opposition, when we ask Sinn Féin to challenge the government on why these things are happening and have happened throughout the year and a half that's gone by, the atrocities in our hospitals, in our nursing homes, there's nothing. There's no interest.
No interest.
There's no interest.
Whatsoever.
And this is what's happening. We're looking on, and we need to rise up. And you know something? I've been thinking, this is Christmas, and we had Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach, come out, and you know, how amazing. You know, he finished his address to the nation at the time of Christmas. This supposedly Christian country. And you know, he finished it off with desolation all around us.
Yeah, destruction.
Death, destruction. The elderly locked away, prisoners in nursing homes. People afraid to go into our local hospitals. And you know what our Taoiseach said? He said, you know, we're known for our resilience. It'll get us through. And he said, mostly our trust in science, he said, will get us through. What a foolish man. What a foolish man. But you know, as he said that, I thought of the onlookers and the bystanders. And the most important bystander that could solve all of this if it spoke up, the church. Where is the church? It's bystander. It's silent. And you know, we had a big meeting at Knock in the last month. We had Archbishop Eamon Martin speaking. And it was to do with those who had lost loved ones throughout the year and a half. He talked about it being a cruel deaths they endured, and how they died alone, and the families said their goodbyes through Zoom and looking in through windows. But you know, his greatest praise went for the frontline workers. And it went for he called them heroes. And he said, we must never forget them. You know, was thinking those elderly, thousands. We heard of people who were taken out of nursing homes with wounds infested with maggots. We heard of elderly people, their bodies being taken out in black bags, and their loved ones broken-hearted, given back clothes that didn't even belong to them, confusion everywhere. Story after story. And I'm saying, where's the interest in that, Archbishop? And I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking of the parable the Lord Jesus spoke, the Good Samaritan, at this time of Christmas. He spoke of the man going from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he gets beaten up and robbed, and he's lying on the side of the road, and he's wounded, and he's dying, and he's on his own. He doesn't have anybody to help him. And along comes the priest, and he passes by on the other side. Yes, he sees it, but he's going to his duties, and he passes by on the other side. And then along comes a Levite, his helper, and he observes it as well, but he passes along. He's a bystander. He's an onlooker. He sees it, yes, but he has other things to do. He's not getting involved. And then we have the Good Samaritan, the outcast. He's not too well got. But you know what? He sees this man on the side of the road, and he gets off his donkey, and he goes over and he ministers to him, and he helps him up, and he dresses his wounds. Yeah. He puts him on his beast. He takes him to the inn. He pays for him, and he tells the innkeeper, if he needs anything else, I'll pay for it when I get back. And the Lord Jesus said, that is the true neighbor. That is the true Christian.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, where's the church?
Where's the Archbishop?
Where's the church calling for the gag to be lifted? Where are the bishops and the priests and the cardinals happy to leave them? Were they happy to leave those elderly dying, taking their last breath,
cruel death,
without any compassion or comfort or prayer? Where are they? Where is the church? Where's the involvement? And the true Christian is he who gets involved. He gets involved in what's happening. And we need to know, where is the church in this? A church that praises the HSE, the staff that are gagged, and doesn't call it out for what it is. There's something seriously wrong. There is something seriously wrong.
So we'd like to just wrap up this evening by thanking you for listening, and we will continue to monitor the situation with the inquest into Sally Maaz's death, and we will continue to call for our local representatives to do their job, to do their duty. We've called many times on Michael Kilcoyne to use his position to highlight the truth. He has consistently failed to do so, but we will continue to call for this, and we are confident, supremely confident, that the truth will win out, and that soon we will have the full truth about what happened not only to Sally Maaz, but to all the other people who tragically, needlessly lost their lives in Mayo University Hospital and right across the country.